darkness was mine. Didn't know it was there the whole time. The secret I told you long ago. Back from the dead, out of control. With your eyes open, see with your eyes closed. Drive into the sunset, leave it all on the road. 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 Remember them all, still hear their call. Remember them all, still hear their call. Remember them all, still hear their call. Remember them all. Catch me as I fall. I'm a bastard, heartless smile. Hear my laughter, love's on trial. I am broken, you are fire. Lies unspoken, heart's desire. I didn't know the darkness was mine. Didn't know it was there the whole time. The secret I told you long ago. Back from the dead, out of control. I'm ready for the fallout. I'm ready for
access the lighthouse slash observation tower is by is by going up through the pillar section. Motherfucker! Just making sure I check every single room, because you never know. Alright. Let's do that. I want to go to Grizzly Hills. So Amber Pine Lodge. And my favorite thing in the world to do.
Travel route is confirmed.
Where I'm heading. There's usually an Imperial medical droid nearby the taxi flight point in some of these forward operating bases. Show up and have Will Wheaton not discuss that scene, which is a huge scene and says so much for the future of the franchise. You know, where it goes from here. It's just astounding. Lookout tower slash lighthouse. Just a temporary marker. Alright. Take a quick nap. I might finish this quest and call it a day. Because I have lab work that I have labs that need done. I have to go to the let's go in here. We can sell the junk that I can't use. Let's see. Nope, can't go that way. There's another. Yes. Okay. There we go. That should fix it. Alright. Anyway, Gravity Crush Dragon. You can set one face-up continuous spell card you control to the graveyard, then target one monster your opponent controls. Destroy that target. Okay. Well, it's only good if you're playing continuous spell cards. My deck really doesn't... I mean, aside from Hidden Temples of Necro Valley. But, I guess pretty decent card. Alright, last Legacy pack to open. Okay, we have Chain Thrasher and Mausoleum of the Emperor. I have fond memories of Mausoleum of the Emperor simply because one of my friends that I taught to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I built him a deck specifically using Mausoleum of the Emperor. In the first match I played against him, he won. And I was playing, at the time, what was a top-tier Warrior Toolbox deck. And so, yeah. You know, a couple of new cards here. Nothing major on the rarity side. Couple of at least one shiny. Two shinies. But nothing really fantastic. Alright. Let's get back to the ranked play. Okay. I only have a 50% win rate so far today. Won the coin flip. Yay! Alright, let's see what happens. Really? Really? Makes no sense. Alright. Let's set one and go. Alright, we've got 40 card main deck, 15 card extra deck. Looks like he's using all the basic stuff. Basic field parts, basic... Nah, I'm gonna let this go through. Yeah, according to my overlay, Magical Mallet has a very low negate impact. Alright, so I used Magical Mallet for 3. Let's go ahead and negate that Fiendsmith Engraver. Which had a medium negate impact. He hasn't normal summoned anything yet. Again, I'm using a really interesting overlay program called untapped.gg that gives me a lot of information. Turn times, number of summons, opponent's cards that have been revealed so far. And of course, my opponent is taking freaking forever because they're playing Fiendsmith. And so, of course, they're going to take forever. Man, I've taken 20 seconds so far. And they've taken now 3 minutes. Over 3 minutes now. Because some of these decks, like Fiendsmith, honestly, I think some of these decks that have these combos that take forever to set up should get nerfed to the point where it doesn't take forever to set them up. Or Konami should just go with beta format, where you get one normal summon, one special summon, one extra deck summon per turn. That's it. That would totally fix the issue of archetypes that have ridiculously long combo chains that just keep going and going and going and going. Honestly, though, if this guy takes any more time, I'm probably just gonna scoop. Okay. This guy gets up to 6 minutes total. I am definitely just gonna straight up scoop because this is ridiculous. So dude's got 30 seconds to finish up his turn. Right, 10 more seconds. Yeah, I'm just gonna scoop, report for slow play, and be done. Konami needs to institute beta format immediately if they want this game to have any semblance of new players coming in, because new players that try and get into Yu-Gi-Oh tend to drop Yu-Gi-Oh. In fact, even veteran players are dropping Yu-Gi-Oh because of the fact that the game is set up in such a way that it makes it impossible to play. You end up with decks that are ridiculous. Like, watch. I bet this guy gets up to 5 minutes of turn time before he's even remotely finished with his turn. 9-card extra deck, though. $40-card main deck. This guy playing a pure Fire Kings deck? Wow. That's amazing. All right. Let's see. You do understand Pot of Greed is a banned card, right? Yeah, Pot of Greed is not legal for play in advanced format. I should not have negated that. I should have let him just destroy his card. Ugh. Was not paying attention. Dark Hole would have destroyed his monster, not mine. And again, I have to reiterate that you can't have 15 pieces of Exodia in your deck because Exodia is limited. Each piece of Exodia is limited to one copy per per deck. So you cannot have 15 pieces of Exodia in your deck. That's an illegal deck. 3 Pot of Greeds. I think the only time Pot of Greed has ever been at 3 was when the game was first released in Japan back in like 1996. Oh, 5 pieces of Exodia and 35 cards that have draw power. That's possible. Unfortunately, the majority of cards that do have draw power are a lot of cards that have draw power are specific to certain archetypes. Yeah, I'll let that go because And so it would be very difficult to have that kind of Exodia deck. I'm not saying it's not possible, it's just it would be a very difficult deck to pull off. Oh no, not at all. In fact, Exodia has recently gotten a lot of support. You can play an Exodia deck. It's just getting the Exodia win is very difficult. That isn't to say that Exodia is unplayable. Exodia is far from unplayable. It's just getting the Exodia win itself is very difficult. Exodia is not banned. It's just limited to 1 copy per deck. And even then, you wouldn't want more than 1 copy per deck because you run the risk of things like Nobleman of Crossout. I understand what you're saying. You wouldn't want them unlimited anyway. You wouldn't want to run more than 1 copy of each because you run the risk of them of your opponent being able to banish multiple copies of a single piece at a time. What happens if you end up needing to normal summon one of them and it gets sent to the graveyard? Most of the support for Exodia really requires you to keep the 5 pieces in your deck or in your hand. You don't really ever want them to be in your graveyard. Alright, let's just scoop this. I totally misplayed anyway. I should have let him destroy his 1 monster instead of negating Dark Hole, because with Necro Valley on the field, Gravekeeper's Heretic is unaffected by all spells and traps and monster effects. So I totally misplayed that part. But yeah, you wouldn't want more than 1 copy of each piece of Exodia in your deck anyway. Alright, let's see here. My deck win condition is pretty much any Gravekeeper, preferably Gravekeeper Supernaturalist or Gravekeeper's Heretic with Necro Valley and Hidden Temples of Necro Valley on the field. Because Heretic, unaffected by all other spells, traps, and monster effects while Necro Valley is on the field. Hidden Temples of Necro Valley prevents Necro Valley is it's slightly different than it because it's been eroded. All Gravekeeper's monsters on the field gain 500 attack and defense. Cards in the graveyard cannot be banished. Negate any card effect that would move a card in the graveyard to a different place. Negate any card effect that changes types or attributes in the graveyard. And then all the Gravekeepers do something different. Heretic, it's unaffected by all other card effects as long as Necro Valley is also on the field. because it's unaffected by all other cards on the field. Yeah, let's go ahead and use Rite of Spirit, which is like a trap-based monster reborn for Gravekeepers. Commandant, you could discard Commandant from your hand to get Necro Valley from your deck to your hand. Descendant, contribute one other face-up Gravekeeper's monster, then target one card your opponent controls and destroy that target. Heretic, its own effect, it being unaffected by all spells and traps and monster effects, is kind of a downside. I have 3 Necro Valleys in my deck because that's the maximum number of copies that you can have. I do have 2 Gravekeeper's Priestess in my deck, which does act as Necro Valley on the field. And then Spiritualist here. No, you really wouldn't count that as +3. It's just a faster way of getting Necro Valley into your hand. I also have Necro Valley Temple, which is a trap card that, as long as Necro Valley is on the field and a Gravekeeper is on the field, all your opponent's monsters lose 500 attack and defense. And if Necro Valley is not active on the field and you have a copy in your hand or in the graveyard, you can activate Necro Valley Temple's effect to activate Necro Valley from your graveyard or from your hand. So I've been thinking about it, but I play more than just Yu-Gi-Oh. Wednesdays I play World of Warcraft retail. Thursdays I play classic World of Warcraft. Fridays I play Minecraft. Saturdays I play Star Wars: The Old Republic. Sundays is Yu-Gi-Oh Day. And then Mondays I play Dungeons and Dragons Online, which is like a MMORPG based on Dungeons and Dragons. Also curious why this guy is playing such a large deck. Because I mean, the anyone who's played this game for any length of time, it's like an MMORPG. It's like World of Warcraft a little bit, except it's based on Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm just realizing this guy's playing a huge deck, and anyone who's played Yu-Gi-Oh long enough knows that there are, for consistency's sake, for probability and statistics sake, you want to play a deck that is 40, 41, 42, or 45. You don't really want to stray outside of those 4 magic numbers. Because if you stray outside of those 4 magic numbers of 40, 41, 42, and 45, you run into consistency issues where you're not drawing into the cards that you want when you want to draw them. In fact, let's back up here a little bit and I'll take a look at my deck. So, my deck, I have a 42 card main deck and 15 card extra deck. You don't want to play too many engines in your deck. You really want to stick to your main archetype and then maybe one additional engine in the deck for that's compatible with that archetype. Either the built-in archetype engine itself, or another engine that is compatible with that archetype. That's why you'll see people combining different archetypes together because they're compatible with each other. Like Fire Kings and Snake Eyes and Fiendsmith. You really don't want too many engines. You really want to stick to one archetype, one main archetype, and one additional support engine. For example, I have, for my deck here, aside from my 2 hand traps and a couple additional staples like Infinite Impermanence and Mystical Space Typhoon, my main deck here is primarily Gravekeepers. Gravekeeper's Priestess. While there's no face-up field spell, the field is treated as Necro Valley. All Gravekeeper's monsters on the field gain 200 attack and defense. Gravekeeper's Recruiter. This card you control is sent to the graveyard. Add 1 Gravekeeper's monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. I have two copies of Ghost Ogre and 2 copies of Ash Blossom as hand traps, though I don't draw into them that often. There are some in-archetype hand traps for Gravekeepers, but they're not as useful as Ghost Ogre or Ash Blossom. 2 copies of Gravekeeper's Spy. Honestly, I never really thought about it. I'm sure if you go through the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel Wiki, it'll tell you what all the UI does. Then I have Assailant, which is great for my opponent's monsters that have really high attack but really low defense. I can just run them over. Gravekeeper's Commandant. This is what helps get me a copy of Necro Valley into my hand. Gravekeeper's Descendant. This is field destruction, or single card field destruction at the cost of another Gravekeeper. A good combo is to have Descendant and Recruiter on the field. Tribute Recruiter for Descendant's effect. Destroy one of your opponent's cards. And then get a Gravekeeper with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand by Recruiter's effect. Ambusher. This is a neat little card that I like. When it's flipped face up, you can target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard, place that target on the bottom of their deck. If it is sent from the field to the graveyard after being flipped face up, you can target 1 Necro Valley card in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. These effects are unaffected by Necro Valley. Then, of course, Heretic. This card on the field is unaffected by all other card effects as long as Necro Valley is also on the field. I really wish that it also got the 500 attack defense. They aren't. They're hand traps. They're staples. There are some staples in my deck that I need for various reasons. Ghost Ogre destroys cards that on the field when their effects are activated. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring can negate draw effects, can negate special summon from the deck effects, and can negate send card from deck to the graveyard effects. But anyway, so Heretic unaffected. Gravekeeper Spiritualist. During your main phase, if Necro Valley is on the field, you can fusion summon one spellcaster fusion monster from your extra deck using this card you control and other monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. You can only use this effect of Gravekeeper Spiritualist once per turn. So this is how I get my Gravekeeper Supernaturalist out. Is with Spiritualist. Chief. Chief's neat. It makes my graveyard unaffected by Necro Valley. So I can banish from the graveyard if I choose. Change things in the position of cards in the graveyard and the types of cards in the graveyard as I choose. And when it's tribute summoned, you can target one Gravekeeper's monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. It is kind of weak, but you got to keep in mind that as long as Necro Valley is on the field, it's actually at 2,400. So it actually gets the Necro Valley boost. And then if Priestess is on the field, it goes up to 2,600. Then, of course, Gravekeeper's Oracle's really great. You could tribute 3 monsters or 1 Gravekeeper's monster to tribute summon, but not set the card. When it's tribute summon, you can activate any of these effects and resolve in sequence up to the number of Gravekeeper's monsters tributed for its summon. So if you tribute 1, it gains attack equal to the combined levels that all monsters tributed for its tribute summon had on the field times 100. If you tribute 2 Gravekeepers, you can destroy all set monsters your opponent controls. And then 3 Gravekeepers, all monsters your opponent currently controls lose 2,000 attack and defense. It's really not. I mean, Pokemon might be easier. Magic the Gathering, especially the way Hasbro's been mucking with things lately. I'm not playing Inscription because the deck list is just way too tight. Way too tight. I mean, like, I'm only playing 1 copy of Royal Tribute. I'm only playing 1 copy of Oracle, 1 Chief. I'm only playing 2 Priestess. Mystical Space Typhoon is definitely not a card that I would want to cut. This deck does not have a whole lot of back row destruction aside from Descendant, so it's definitely a keeper. But Royal Tribute, if you control Necro Valley, both players discard any monsters in their hands. I have seen so many people rage quit because I popped Necro Valley. Harpy's Feather Duster is, yes, better, but there are circumstances where you wouldn't want to play Harpy's Feather Duster. Especially since I also happen to have Imperial Tombs of Necro Valley, which can negate it. And if I have Gravekeeper, Supernaturalist, and Necro Valley on the field, you wouldn't be able to destroy Necro Valley anyway. Gravekeeper Stell, this helps get me Gravekeepers out of the graveyard back into my hand. Necro Valley Throne helps me either get a Gravekeeper's monster from my deck to my hand, so I can either get Commandant to be able to get Necro Valley onto the field. If I already have Necro Valley on the field, I can get, say, a Spiritualist or an Oracle or any other Gravekeepers that I need. Or if I need to normal summon multiples, of anything I can. Of course, Necro Valley, the star of the show, around which pretty much everything else in this deck revolves. Hidden Temples of Necro Valley. This is the card that really shuts down a lot of meta decks these days, simply because neither player can special summon monsters except Gravekeeper's monsters. It does have the downside of needing a Gravekeeper and Necro Valley on the field, and if either is not on the field, it gets destroyed. That's where having things like yes and no. The deck does probably would be better statistically if I cut it down to 40. But because of what the deck does and what cards I need in the deck for the deck to do what it does, it really does need 42. That isn't to say that, and yes, Rockapella, you are right that most decks nowadays don't do 40 anymore. Simply because there's too much going on in certain decks. However, I still believe that the 40 is one of the 4 magic numbers of deck size, main deck size, that you need to play in order for your deck to have any kind of consistency. And that's 40, 41, 42, and 45. There are edge cases for 43 and 44. There are edge cases for more than 45, but those are extreme edge cases, not the norm. Yeah, the more cards you have in your deck, the more inconsistent the deck becomes. But there are decks nowadays that are able to dig into their decks more consistently than in previous iterations of the game. But again, it's a consistency issue, really. Of course, Mystical Space Typhoon, that's Backroad Destruction. Rite of Spirit, it's basically a trap-based Monster Reborn for Gravekeepers. Infinite Impermanence. Again, it's not in the archetype, but it is a staple that most decks nowadays will play, in addition to the hand traps, Ghost Ogre, and Ash Blossom. I really wish I could throw in a Nibiru or some of the other Grass is Greener, Called by the Grave, but I really just don't have the space in this deck at this time. Imperial Tombs of Necro Valley. This is effect negation as long as you have Necro Valley and a Gravekeeper's monster on the field. Cool little trick here is to normal summon Priestess, because Priestess treats the field as Necro Valley as long as there isn't a field spell active. Priestess by herself actually brings online a lot of these cards like Hidden Temples of Necro Valley and Imperial Tombs of Necro Valley. If you started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel now, you could probably build a fairly decent deck fairly quickly. Like maybe a week, maybe a couple of days. I mean, I built this deck literally day 2. Well, I mean, not this deck as it stands right now. I haven't test played with Impulse yet. So I don't know how consistent it would be in this deck. But yeah, and then of course the last card, Necro Valley, for the main deck, Necro Valley Temple. Great card. This does a whole lot. While a Gravekeeper's monster and Necro Valley are both on the field, monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense. I love getting all 3 copies of Necro Valley Temple on the field. All my opponent's monsters lose 1500 attack and defense, as long as they're not unaffected. Once per turn during the main phase, if you control no card in your field zone, you can activate 1 Necro Valley directly from your hand or graveyard. This is great, especially I've had people destroying Necro Valley over and over and over again, and I just keep bringing it back with Necro Valley Temple. If Necro Valley Temple is destroyed by an opponent's effect and sent to the graveyard, I could set 1 Necro Valley spell or trap directly from my deck except Necro Valley Temple. This is a great way to get an Imperial Tombs on the field if needed, or if I want to get a Necro Valley Throne, I could get a Necro Valley Throne onto the field. As far as the extra deck, 3 copies of Supernaturalist. Gains attack and defense equal to the combined original levels of the materials used for its fusion summon times 100. Yeah, except that Supernaturalist would protect Necro Valley itself. That and most people are playing cards that are more consistent, especially going second, like Lightning Storm and such, rather than Harpy's Feather Duster. Harpy's Feather Duster has seen a lot of resurgence lately, especially on Master Duel, but it's not really seen in a lot of top tier decks. Anyway, Supernaturalist. While Necro Valley is on the field, this card and any card in your field zone cannot be destroyed by card effects. So Supernaturalist protects itself and Necro Valley as long as Necro Valley is on the field and on your side of the field. During your main phase, you can activate this effect. During the end phase of this turn, add 1 Gravekeeper's monster or Necro Valley card from your deck to your hand. That it really helps get a lot of the components of the combo out of the deck. Also, Imperial Tombs just negates anything that would so you play Harpy's Feather Duster, I play Imperial Tombs. Boom. Harpy's Feather Duster is negated. I filled out some of these extra deck cards I just popped in just because they're compatible with the cards that are in the deck. Because Ghost Ogre and Ash Blossom are tuner monsters, I threw in a couple of synchros. A level 6. That way I can use Ghost Ogre or Ash and Recruiter or Priestess to make Iron Chain Dragon. Arcanite Magician goes with either of my tuners and pretty much any of the rest of the deck, because all the Gravekeepers are spellcasters. Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend is more specifically for the tuners and Gravekeeper's Chief. Since most of the Gravekeepers are level 4, I threw in number 39, number 52, number 70, Granosaurus Giga Cannon, Akashic Magician kind of a field control card. It's not really useful for anything else. Wee Witch's Apprentice, with the exception of Heretic, which would be unaffected, or Commandant, which is an Earth. Wee Witch's Apprentice, super compatible with this deck. Gives everything in it a 500 attack and defense boost. Really great against Fiendsmiths because they're all light fiends, so they would lose 400 attack and defense. If I didn't have Necro Valley on the field, or if I had Necro Valley and Gravekeeper's Chief on the field, and Wee Witch's Apprentice is destroyed, I can target one dark monster in my graveyard and add it to my hand. So, little graveyard manipulation there. Daybreaker, the Shining Magician, or Magical Warrior, sorry. This is a good card to have with the Gravekeepers because I could special summon to a zone it points to, get an extra spell counter on it, and then it's field destruction. And then Dark the Dark Charmer really works well with this deck. Target one dark monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your zone. This card points to. If this link summon card is destroyed by battle or is destroyed by opponent's card effect while in its owner's monster zone, you can add one dark monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. So, I mean, almost everything here is compatible with everything else. I do have an ad break incoming, so I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break. I will be right back to run some ads. I will be right back. And when I come back, I'll keep running up the rank play ladder, and we can continue this discussion, which is, in my opinion, probably one of the better discussions I've had on stream all week. So, I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. One second. Be right back. Don't go nowhere. Motherfucker! Nice. Okay. So I'm just looking around, searching for hidden doors. Lookout tower slash lighthouse. Just a temporary marker. Alright. Take a quick nap. Alright. Let's do that. I want to go to Grizzly Hills. So, Amber Pine Lodge. And my favorite thing in the world to do.
Travel route is confirmed.
Where I'm heading. There's usually an Imperial medical droid nearby the taxi flight point in some of these forward operating bases. Go.
A ramp descends into the warehouse's lowest depths. Surprisingly, the ramp is spotless and dust-free. This makes you feel uneasy. This must be the kobolds' Ersad shrine to Kyber.
Yeah, let's go in here. We can sell the junk that I can't use. Access the lighthouse slash observation tower is by ouch, is by going up to the up through the pillar section. If not, maybe they'll bring it back next year. But for right now, it's probably sold out, but it's good. If you haven't tried W yet, you can go to w.gg, use promo code MACRO1 at checkout. Save 10% on your order and help support the channel. Get yourself some decent energy drink. Just making sure I check every single room, because you never know. There's another...
Work complete.
Yes! Okay. Let's... Alright, folks, we are back. Okay, let's see. Let's do a few more duels here. Oh, that I have not seen seen that joke yet, so I appreciate that. Okay. Didn't win the coin flip, so not going first. I really wish I could... I mean, I just started using Untapped, so obviously I haven't gotten it set up yet so that you guys can see it. But it is a great overlay for Magic the Gathering Arena or Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel or Marvel Rivals. And it just gives you a lot of information. Things like what the impact of negating specific cards are. It shows you all the cards that your opponent has revealed so far. It gives you summon counters for normal summons and special summons. it gives you a timer that shows you how long your opponent has taken so far in the game, as well as how long they've taken this turn. This is definitely a situation where you probably this person probably would have wanted to be running way more than the number of cards in their deck that they're currently running. Pyramid Fiendsmith. But they are definitely slow playing. If you take more than 10 seconds to go through your deck to play to make plays, you any one particular play, you're probably taking too long. This person has pretty much revealed 90% of their entire deck to me already. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Nearly half their deck has been revealed already. Okay, at 4 minutes, I am totally just scooping and reporting them for slow play, because they're just taking way too long. And this is where beta format would come in, because beta format would, if you're not familiar with beta format, it's similar to advanced format, except that you are limited to one normal summon, one special summon, and one extra deck summon. And it differentiates extra deck summons from special summons. So you can only normal summon one monster unless you have cards that allow you more normal summons. You are only allowed to special summon once in your one monster, and you're only allowed to extra deck summon one monster. So decks like that wouldn't work anymore, because you would only be able to normal summon, special summon, extra deck summon. Special summons being like special summoning from the hand, special summoning from the deck, special summoning from the graveyard. For example, my deck, I would only be able to normal summon one monster, special summon one monster, and then summon from the extra deck one monster. So I would be able to normal summon, we're going to waste an impermanence on my spiritualist. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna scoop here because I'm just... Alright. Let's go one more match. Win or lose. After this match, I'll open up some more, a few more legacy packs, and then call it a day. Alright. Let's go ahead and set that, and we're going to normal summon Commandant. I know it doesn't destroy it, but it does negate it. Alright, let's see. What can I do? You know what? No, let's not do that. Let's just end turn. Because during the standby phase, that pops back to the deck. Alright, we're gonna snooze that. Let me see something here. Let's go ahead and set the spy. Let's end turn. Alright, let's flip summon. And then let's see what we get. No, I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead and grab Alright. This is looking like it's gonna be the one. Okay. Let's grab Spy and Ambusher. Set Spy. Let me see. What does this do? If you control no monsters, you know what's on this card without tributing. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Cover the battle damage from attacks involving this card. At the end of the battle phase of this card battled, shuffle all cards from your opponent's graveyard into the deck. Okay. So I wouldn't do any damage. Okay, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Okay. go ahead and grab... activate this. And end turn. Let's grab Imperial Tombs, hopefully. Hey! Yes! Alright. And I rank up. Whew. I was so close to losing that. Alright. Well, I know I said I was going to open some legacy packs, but we are getting close to the 2-hour mark. And, well, I've already wasted 2 ad snoozes, so. Alright, let's just go ahead and grab my Duel Pass rewards. Alright, that is going to do it for me today, folks. I want to thank y'all for joining me. Big shout out to Rocket Pal 123, as well as Host 2S for swinging by and chatting. Super appreciate it. Shout out to Bunny of the Black Void for the follow earlier. I super appreciate that. I will be back on tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific time playing some Dungeons and Dragons Online. Continuing to adventure with my Halfling Rogue. I do want to mention that I unfortunately have jury duty this Wednesday, so I may or may not be on Wednesday at my normal 6 a.m. time. So, just wanted to get that out there real quick. So, until tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific time, peace out. Stay frosty, have a great day, and stick around for the raid.
And this is how the story ends. I've read between the lines. Your pages are a mystery. Your words are undefined. You buried all your secrets there.